Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 104 of a year of change. Today is going to be a bit of a cheat day. It's not exactly what you think. You can't have cake today or bacon or cheese or whatever you're looking to do. Well, maybe we can, but it's not a cheat day as in I'm going to eat whatever I want. It's just that I was debating whether or not to do this because it seems a little lazy, but it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier this week. So, we'll start out with Monday. When on Monday, we sort of talked about the Let's Move program, which is primarily aimed at kids. And sort of, I want to sort of touch on that again, because we did this a few weeks ago as well. We talked about it, and I know it's sort of an odd subject because the majority of us that are watching this are older than kids, so, it doesn't really necessarily apply to us. But the main reason why I'm sort of focusing on this again is because just like yesterday when we were talking about the study that we're just getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and there are more people that are now obese than there are that are just overweight. And it's going to be, the next, I don't want to say the next generation because that sounds kind of weird, but the people that are kids now in 10 years are going to be the next stage in that it's just going to be almost everyone's going to be obese, and that the overweight people are going to be in such a minority, and then there's going to be normal people which are just going to be almost non-existent. And it's a little difficult to sort of talk about this because not that I'm trying to avoid anything, it's just that I don't have kids, so it's really easy for someone who doesn't have kids to say, this is what you need to do, and not really have any practical experience with it. But all I can give you is the outlook that I have and sort of go from there. This isn't going to be something that's like, well, you need to make sure that they do this and this and this. No, it's not going to tell someone how to raise their kids. It's that starting with us, we've said this before and we talked about it earlier on this week as well, I think, that very few of us, started gaining weight when we were in our 30s and 40s. A lot of us, there's always the same story. It's, well, I was always a fat kid, or I was always a big kid, or, it starts out when we're young. And it's a lot of that is just bad habits that we adopted and that we've maintained for decades. And right now, they're difficult to break, but right now we are doing it. We've been doing it for a little over 3 months now, where we're slowly and surely making little changes here and there to break those habits. And some have been broken successfully and some not so successfully. We've all had days where we've sort of fallen back and had a cheat day and just said, screw it, I'm going to eat whatever I want, I don't care. You're still coming back, so that's good. But if you think back throughout our history, we're constantly doing that. We're always going back into those bad behaviors and those bad habits. And it's like going back to an ex that is just everyone knows is bad for you, that you just keep going back over and over and over and over again because it's familiar. It's what we know. And that's why I think there should be a little more focus on this for kids, because they don't have those, they may have those habits, but they aren't cemented in their lifestyle yet. They're still young enough that they can break them fairly easily. With us, we have to work hard at it because we've been doing it for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. They haven't. And so it's very easy to break them out of that. In comparison, obviously. Now, the reason why I say this is a bit of a cheat is that a few weeks ago, I actually put up a show on the recommended viewing called Super Size versus Super Skinny. And it basically took two people that, one that was overweight, one that was underweight, and tried to show them where they need to be, that sort of happy middle ground where they can be healthy. And apparently they did a sort of a mini-series for kids as well. Same host, same doctor, Dr. Christian Jessen. He's taken this upon himself to do this with kids as well, because it's so much easier to sort of ingrain that in them right away and break them of those bad habits instead of waiting for 20 or 30 years when it's going to be next to impossible to do it. So this one sort of focuses on, that's just the very first episode. They didn't do very many, but it really focuses again on the healthy aspect of it. More than you need to lose weight because you're too fat or you need to gain weight because you're too thin. It's you need to get to a healthy weight. And there are a couple of things in this one that are a bit graphic. Not really gory or anything, but there's one sequence where they take a classroom full of kids and they show them actual slides, which are basically just slices of people, little 5 millimeter thick slices of cadavers. And he shows them, one that is severely underweight, one that's severely overweight, and then one that, was a healthy weight when they died. And it's really, you can really see the difference in it, and it's something that obviously sticks with the kids as well. It's not traumatizing or anything like that. It's more of an, ew, it's kind of gross, but it's interesting kind of thing. But he's still, that same attitude that he brought toward the people that were in the original series, he does bring that to the kids as well. Not to say, well, you're too fat, you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that and things like that, or you're too skinny, so you're a horrible human being. He really is trying really hard to promote just getting to a healthy lifestyle. And along with that comes a healthy, normal weight. And not normal as in average. We are average at this point. And this is not normal. We are unhealthy no matter who you are. There's no such thing as someone saying, oh, well, I'm fat, but I'm healthy. No, you're not. If we're fat, we're not healthy. And you may think that you are. You hear it all the time. People, making excuses and saying, oh, yeah, but I'm very healthy. I don't have any of these problems. But you're still not healthy. I'm a prime example, actually, of this because I've said this to people before, that I don't have a lot of the problems that you would associate with being, as I found out this week, super obese. That, I don't have any joint pain. I don't have any, heart problems as far as I know. Things are fine that way. And so there are a lot of things that, I'm not on any medication, anything like that. And I'm able to exercise. And it's, yes, I break into a sweat and I get kind of gross and sweaty and smelly, but that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't have anything that I can look at and say, well, my weight has caused this problem, like gout or something else, which I don't really know. But so I feel like I am fortunate that way. But I wouldn't really say, oh, I'm healthy. I'm not healthy. I'm morbidly obese. That's the word morbid is right in there. So there's a myriad of problems that I probably have. I just haven't gone to have it taken, have someone take a look at, which might be something actually quite interesting that we could do for something. Just go through, have a whole bunch of different tests, and then say, you should be fucking dead. I don't know why you're still here. You should have an exploded heart and a ruptured spleen and a fedangulated lung, or whatever else that they do. That might be something I might look into. Anyway. But I feel like I'm okay. Yes, I'm tired, and I've got a lot of weight that I'm carrying around, and that part is shitty. But I don't feel that I have a lot of the health problems that I see with a lot of people that are my size. So I'm sort of lucky that way. But anyway, I'm getting off target here. Yes. So, completely lost my train of thought now. What was I talking about? Healthy versus just too fat, too thin, too healthy. There we go. It's fine. Not too healthy. You're too healthy. You need to be gross or skinny or fat or whatever. Anyway, so he does promote this, this needs to be a healthy lifestyle. And I think when you sort of start out with kids at this age, I think the two kids in there are 13 and 15, I think, that they're young enough that they aren't set in their ways. And for any of you that have a teenager, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have friends that have teenage kids, and they go through, 10 different personality changes in the course of a year. So getting into a spot where you can break them of a bad habit is much easier then than it would be for someone that's, in their 30s or 40s. Because there is just a lifetime of bad habits that we've really sort of sunk into that we enjoy one way or the other, whether, we're sad about it or depressed or we hate ourselves, whatever the situation is. We obviously don't hate it enough to do anything about it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be this fat. We would have done something much, much, much earlier. So I think by sort of getting in there early and talking to these kids and saying, this is unhealthy because it's too thin. This is unhealthy because it's too fat. Here's where you need to be. And instead of just saying, well, you're just too fat, too fat, too fat, too fat, which is what a lot of people seem to be doing. They seem to sort of gloss over the too thin thing. Except for, of course, the magazine, which happened a few weeks ago. What was it, Elle in the UK? That said, no, you have to pull them because the model is too thin. But they won't pull them if they're too fat, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Anyway, we already had this discussion, but figured it's worth bringing up again. So when I say that this is a bit of a cheat, this is why. Because it's sort of the same show, but it's got a bit of a different focus. Can't talk again. Once again, every single video, every single video, I end up going at some point. I can't talk today. I can never talk. So just accept it. I'm just going to babble on for as long as I can. So anyway, getting back to where I was. This is just a horrible video. I'm sorry. This is really sort of off in all sort of directions. But this is the same show that we put up 2 or 3. I think it's 3 weeks ago now. 3 or 4 weeks actually at this point. So maybe that might not be too bad. But where the focus is looking at kids, which are a little easier to sort of mold that way, I think it's worth taking another look at. And like I say, this wasn't part of the regular series. This was a little mini series that they did. I want to say there's only 4 episodes, but there may be a few more for this. But for those of you that do have kids, whether you're trying to get them to lose weight or to gain weight, or just get them into a lifestyle that's a little healthier than what we're accustomed to at this point, then it's a good show to watch, I think. Especially where the focus doesn't get drawn on so much, the appearance as it is their health, which I think is the main thing. Especially, we've all gone through that when we were younger. Just hating ourselves one way or the other. You're never going to be good enough, whether you're too thin or you're too fat or you're too short, too tall, whatever it is. At that age, we hate ourselves for everything. So it's nice to see that, he's putting that positive face forward and saying, this isn't a matter of looking good. This is a matter of not wanting to be underweight, not wanting to be overweight, but to be healthy, and you'll feel better. Your quality of life will improve. It's basically what we're trying to do here. And he is encouraging, without being patronizing as well, that if they aren't following through, he'll call them on it. But when they do make progress, he acknowledges it. And whether it's, a tiny amount of progress or a huge amount, there is still that, it's almost that it's treated equally, saying it's still progress. You need to keep it up. Keep doing this. You're on the right track. Eventually, things will get better. And so I find that his approach is very, very positive all the way around. And then I'm not a person that's just saying, positive thinking will help you. It isn't. It's very practical application to it as well. So when these kids are coming in, he's not just saying, well, then just eat more bread and you'll gain weight. It's a matter of you need to, diversify. Diversify, is that a word? Yes, it is. Okay. You need to, eat more foods. If there's one of them that is a very, very picky eater, and that's part of the reason why she's so thin. He says you need to try more foods. Whether you like them or not, you need to at least try them. And it sort of goes the other way with the fat kid as well, that he's saying you need to try more foods because you're stuck eating the same greasy, high-calorie foods all the time. And he works with the parents and, explains to them what they need to do on their part. Because let's face it, these are still children. These are kids that, their parents need to sort of take control of the stage as well. And say, you're the one that's cooking this food for them. So you need to put your foot down and start doing this properly. So it's a bit of a cop-out. I'm sorry, because it is sort of the same show, but it isn't. And given what we were talking about on Monday, I think it's very fitting that we put this in there as well. So I'll put the very first episode up. You can take a look and then sort of go through. They're all over YouTube, so you should be able to find them for free, which is good. And I think there's only 4, maybe half a dozen episodes. I could be wrong. But I've only been able to see 4. And usually they're all split up, and some people seem to split them up into 10 different parts, which makes no sense at all. But you can go up, you can take a look, and leave your opinions below, as per usual. So go up, take a look. If you have kids, if you feel that it's something that can be helpful to them as well, have them take a look at it. Because I think it's something, and again, don't have kids, don't want kids, but I think that this sort of approach would be much more effective instead of doing what we've all gone through and had someone just pound into us. you're too fat, you're too fat, you're too fat, or you're too thin, you're too thin, you're too thin. It's a very supportive, practical program that he's put together, and it seems to be helping. So, anyway, that's it. I'm going to stop babbling because I've gone all over the place with this one, and I don't feel like I've really drawn any focus anywhere. But you have some TV to watch for this weekend, so enjoy. They are very, they're still very lighthearted, just like the main series as well. It has its ups and downs and stuff, and in this case, it has, a little bit of a shock value to the school kids when they're looking at the slides of the people. But it's put forward as very educational, not just to say, oh, this is what 10 pounds of fat looks like, you're all gross. So I think it is a very positive thing, and like I say, if you have kids that you feel can benefit from it, and that you can benefit from it and work with them to get them on the right track like you're trying to do, then by all means, it'd be a good show for them to watch. But for right now, I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me, and in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.